Hello students, we are back and this time we are going to perform very interesting experiment, and this experiment is about food. And what about food? So we want to understand, in the food there are macronutrients and there are micronutrients, and when we talk about macronutrients we are essentially talking about carbohydrates, fats and proteins, and macronutrients are quite a lot. There are a whole lot of vitamins and minerals that constitutes a major bulk of micronutrients. So in today's experiment we are going to look at whether the food that we eat has what macronutrients, and also among the micronutrient we are going to look at vitamin C, if it is present or it is not present. Now when you go and buy, let's say, any food packet of let's say any snacks or a chocolate, on the back of the envelope what you will see is the food nutrition label. It indicates how much protein, how much sugar, how much carbohydrate or how much fat or micronutrient is present in the food. We are not going to get into the quantitative analysis. We are just going to look at whether the particular food item is present or not present in the given food. And how do we do this is we have a set of reagents that we are going to use. So I will discuss the setup, and then I will talk about the reagents that we are going to use today. Okay, so let me talk about the setup. First of all, I have a set of food items that we eat normally on a day-to-day basis. I have got grounded groundnut, I have got boiled rice, sugar and a grounded moong dal. Then I have a couple of fruit juices. You may be able to identify them by color. I am not going to name them. I just want to get into any trouble with any one of them. And most important things are the reagents. What are the reagents that we use to identify these macro and macro major sources of food? So first one is DCPIP. It is dichlorophenol indophenol. It is dark blue in color, and we will see how it reacts when vitamin C is present. This is a biuret reagent. It is light blue and it has a copper sulfate as a major component in it. Then iodine and also the Benedict reagent. Now Benedict reagent is used for identifying the presence of sugar. Iodine is, as you know, it is used for identifying starch, and biuret is used for identifying the protein. So let's start the testing. I will start with the testing of the starch, and I will start with rice and sugar. So I will take a observation glass, two of them, wipe the observation glass clean. And I am using this white background so that you can actually see the change of color very clearly when it happens. So let me start with rice. As I said earlier, for testing of presence of starch, we use iodine. So few drops of iodine onto the sugar. Iodine does not change any color on the sugar. Let's see what happens with rice. Right. So as you can see, when we added iodine to the rice, the color changed to black, purple, purplish, bluish kind of thing. So what does this color indicates is that rice has carbohydrate in it. We will move on to the next ingredient, which is protein. For protein, I am going to use grounded peanut, and maybe I will use boiled rice. So I will take a bit of grounded peanut in the test tube, add to it biuret agent, I just added maybe 1 ml and a half of Biuret agent, bit of a water to it, and I will just try to mix it. See, the reason why we are able to do test in a very simplistic way is because we are not interested in finding whether it has what is the quantum of protein in it. So we are not very fussy about the measurements. Otherwise, you will have to go and do it in a very measured and very systematic manner. Yeah. So when I added Biuret agent, the color of the solution turned bit purplish bluish. It's not exactly purple, but if I heat it up a bit, then probably the reaction will occur and then the color will change even darker purple. So let me do that. Let me switch on the turn on the Bunsen burner, and we will heat the solution and see what happens. Actually, it is turning bit purple right now, but bit of amount of heating will bring out that color. As you can see, the color is turning bit purple. As it's heating up, it is getting even darker and darker. So as you can make out, the color has turned from blue to purple, and when Biuret agent, when it is added to any food and the color turns purple, it indicates the presence of protein. Now let's do the same test for rice. For doing this test for rice, I would like to smash it up a bit rather than leaving it unsmashed, because I want it to interact well with the Biuret agent, so that does not leave any doubt in our mind whether it has it or it doesn't have. So this is boiled rice already. I'm just kind of smashing it up. The paste is what I am interested in. A bit of water will help it to go down. Okay, that's good. And to this, I will add few drops of Biuret agent. So when you add Biuret agent, the color is light blue, a nice looking light blue. And now I will heat this. So by the time when we heated groundnut, it started showing the change of color, but I don't see a significant change, although it is changing, getting a bit darker and getting a bit purplish, but it's not really the purple that we got for the groundnut. So what does it mean is that it does have protein, but the quantum of protein that groundnut has is not the same with rice. So not denying that protein is there or is not there, protein is there, but then we'll have to do a quantitative test to understand and figure out the quantum of protein in rice vis-a-vis groundnut. Okay, so that kind of proves that rice also has protein. So let's move on to the next test, which is testing the sugar. Now for testing sugar, as I said, we need Benedict solution, and we also need heating. So what I will do is I will start the heating process. In the meantime, I will also explain how this process is going to be done. So what we are going to heat here is water. We are not going to heat the test tube directly. The solution that we are going to prepare along with Benedict solution and the food item, we will keep that in water bath, and after 2 to 3 minutes we will see if there is any color change from blue to something else. Now if the color change happens, it indicates the presence of sugar and change into some specific color. to yellow to red or to light green, and if those things happen, if you see those things, those colors, then it means the sugar is present. So let me heat the water and start the process. Okay, and what we will do is we will take couple of ingredients for this. One obviously is sugar, because we want to use that as a reference source, and between other things I would go with moong dal this time. That has not been tested, and we will see whether that has sugar in it. So I will take a bit of a moong dal. Again, I will repeat that this is not exactly the process how it is carried out in food laboratories. We are doing just the qualitative assessment whether the things are present or not. So this is fine for that. So bend it, because moong dal has its own color, bit greenish, so it becomes a bit lighter here. But this will be our starting point, right? And let me mix it up also before that and see if anything. I will let this solution settle down for a while. In the meantime, I will prepare the sugar solution. That's good enough. It must be 4-5 ml of water. Almost all of sugar is dissolved, and some rest of it will dissolve when it gets heated up. Again, I will add 4-5 ml of, I think I've added at least 3 ml by now. I think that should be enough, and this thing also has settled down. So these are the two food items that we are going to test. While the water gets heated up, I will look at how can we test for the presence of sugar, for the fat. And if you can see this filter paper, right now it doesn't have any patches or no transparent sections on it. I will add groundnut to it. We know the groundnut has fat in it, but we just want to see how does it look, so that we can compare the outcome of this test and then test other. So what I have done is that I have taken it in a filter paper, and now I am pressing it and squeezing that groundnut in the paper. So what happens is that if it has oil, then it will come out, and it will have patches of oil on the filter paper, and that we can see it against the light, and it will be very clearly visible. So let me not throw this. I will keep this aside. And if I can see the patches of oil on the butter paper. Now that these patches, they show that it's obviously oil, or it's a fat basically from the groundnut. So for another food item that I'm going to use for testing the presence of fat is moong dal. So let me take a couple of spatula full of moong dal, and again I'm saying that this may not be the best method to test the presence of fat, but since we are doing the kind of a qualitative analysis, this is good enough for us to use this method. So I'm going to squeeze out moong dal pretty hard, and if it has any oil in it, it should show up. Now, as you can see, I don't find any trace or any patch out there of oil coming out from moong dal, and it means that moong dal does not have any fat or oil in it. So let's get back to sugar now. As I said, we have these two solutions. We have added Benedict solution to it. One is a pure sugar solution. It will work as a reference point for us, and another one is a moong dal solution, and I will add both of them to water bath and let there be for a while, and we will see if there is a color change happening or not. Just to add to the mix and the fun of it, I will also take in a smaller test tube a bit of this packaged fruit juice and test how does it compare with the sugar solution. So I will try to remove as much as possible the original color of it. So it is still dark green, and that will be the starting point for us. And for this one I will have to use tongue because it's a smaller test tube, but should be doable. Yeah, okay. So we will observe this process for maybe 3-4 minutes because water is still not really hot, it's not boiling. So we should start looking at the change of color 2 to 3 minutes from the time the water starts boiling. So let it go on for a while, and in the meantime I will test for presence of vitamin C in the fruit juices, and also take rice this time if we have not used it for a while, and see whether is there any color change. And I will have to once again prepare the paste of rice so that we give enough opportunity for rice to interact with the CPIP to show and if it has any vitamin C or not. Bit of water can help. I think this is good enough, and with spatula I will and even if I add water, starch will not dissolve, but if it has vitamin C, it will dissolve in water. Vitamin C is water soluble and it should come out. Mix it well. We are good. So let's start testing one by one. So I have first juice. I will not name. I can make out this is fruit juice of an international brand, and you see the purple color forming at the top, and that indicates it has vitamin C in it, right? So that's kind of good enough proof. This should also turn purple, there is no doubt. This is an Indian brand, but yeah, slightly less compared to the other one, but only quantitative analysis can tell you how much less or how much more, but it does show that it has vitamin C in it. What about rice? That will be interesting. Absolutely no change of color. Rice doesn't have vitamin C, and kind of we know that it doesn't have, but it kind of, this is how the tests are done in the real world to test whether something is present or not present. And now if you look at our sugar things, let's come back, and if I have to show you the first sample which we added last, the change of color from being dark green to what, saffron orange, kind of orange color, and it's looking very nice color, but that shows that it has tons of sugar in it. There's no doubt about that. This one has gotten bit dark and it has remained blue. And typically if it has sugar in it, it will actually turn green or darker green and then yellow and then to red. But I don't see that progression, and doesn't mean that it doesn't have sugar or even a traces of sugar in it. Doesn't seem to have a lot of sugar in it. So probably I will rule out the presence of sugar, or I will not be worried. If I am eating dal and if I have diabetes, I will not be worried why I am eating moong dal. It doesn't seem to have sugar in it. And this color is changing a bit from dark blue. It has become nice looking green. So if I keep it on for some time, if you see on the top, it is slightly turning a bit lighter and going towards yellow, which shows that this was our reference solution. So it shows that this is how the color change happens. And if you recall, I just added maybe 2 macro spatula of sugar in maybe around 4 ml of water, and this is the color that I get. With that, we complete our testing of macronutrients and macronutrients in the food that we use today: moong dal, sugar, rice, and groundnut, and the fruit juices, using different reagents: DCPIP for vitamin C, biurate solution for protein, iodine for starch, and Benedict solution for sugar. As I always say, science is always interesting when it is learned using experiments. So next time I will be back with some more interesting experiments from physics, chemistry, or biology. Till then, goodbye. We are making these videos so that science learning can be fun and enjoyable. If you like our videos, please subscribe and don't forget to press on the bell icon so that you can keep getting the updates about our latest videos and experiments.